trying to use both this leg and her hand to pull me closer and eventually dive under, rotate to my back. So it's very important, guys, that while we're working on trying to back away from her hand so that we're free to get back on top, that I'm not neglecting the fact that she can pummel this leg in, right? So my hand at first should be just pulsing so that she can freely pummel the leg inside. And while we're fighting this hand, so like she's trying to dive in, I'm stepping back and away, I'm not gonna be free for too long, but once I feel like she can't reach my leg, that's when I'm gonna look to come up, right? Now, I would rather have my hand go from the leg to the collar so I can land tighter, and the way that I'm coming up is very important. Look at how once I grab, I'm not just trying to get my foot to the ground. However, if I just get my foot on the ground, but there's not a lot of weight there, it's very easy for her to elevate me again and get me right back. So look at how I'm gonna use my bottom leg here to extend this leg, and how much I'm gonna try to bend this leg in. The more I bend this leg in when I come up, the higher chances I'm gonna have of landing like this, with her knees sideways and me being able to smash. One thing I want you to think about though is, sometimes when you do that, my partner is fighting as well, right? So as I come up, even if I'm successful with bending my leg and coming on top, sometimes Rana's knee could be a little bit more open because she could realize that I'm gonna hip smash and she could start opening up. I'm still gonna be very heavy, but I can use my hand, I can start using my hand to push her leg across and start falling over, right? So we can practice both. We can practice backing up from that leg, from that hand, making sure that I'm blocking her leg from pummeling, grabbing the collar, bending my knee in and trying to land on the tip of my toes on top, where I'm already smashing the hip, but also working in case I land, her knees wide open, I stay heavy, get my hand on the outside, open up for a second, and then stuff it in. Once I have this knee folded, we're gonna look for two things. Hug the hip with my thumb down, so I turn my thumb and I try to reach as low as possible. And now instead of going forward with my knee, I'm gonna try to go out to the side. So I bring my shin over her shin and I try to land right in this hip smash position. Why do I want to have the hip right away? Because Rana's gonna react, right? She try to arch back, she try to underhook. So I want to make sure that when I land, I'm either very heavy with both knees down, toes active, head inside, or I can start opening up my right leg already just to weigh more on the left side. Either is fine for now. I'm going to talk about some passes after, how to use the top of my head under her chin to make her really flat. Just try to position yourself well once you land. So she's going to work the shin grab, get me off balance. You can play a little bit. I'm trying to stay far, Once I'm able to reach the collar, I know that I'm safe. I bend my leg in, try to land heavy. The more squatted I am, the higher chance of me getting on the side of her thigh and already controlling the hip. Thumb. If you grab like this, your shoulder is going upwards, no pressure. If I turn down and I grab low, I'm going to start opening my knee out to the side and landing on the hip smash. When I get here, this elbow's going to be tight, this shoulder's going to be heavy. And not only that, whenever I'm working on hip smash positions here, I'm working to get her knee sideways, right? So this grip is supposed to pull her hip up in a way where she would turn belly down. Of course, I'm not going to do all that, but if she's really trying to get back and I have this grip pulling her in, I'm turning her hip towards the side that I want to make it easier for me to control. So always think about that. If you're trying to make her knees fold to one way, you can grab the hip in a way where you're lifting and turning her knees to where you want. You can be more successful with it. Okay, so let's just play with freeing yourselves from that control, coming back on top, going hip smash, and then we talk about hip smash after. Okay? Let's go, guys. Partner up. 1, 2, 3. Knee is here. I can use that. And one thing that is nice to kind of mix with this is, if I just go and I push and I stay, okay, I could still be successful. But the more I get used to pushing this across, and as her knee's going that way, my knee's going that way as well, and I'm hugging her waist, the better I'm going to be at it, because there's always going to be reaction, right? So once they realize their knee's no longer a strong frame and it's getting folded up, they're going to try to push you away. So if you're following with that, it makes it a lot stronger. So if you want to give it a try, you can even go kind of away from the shin grab itself. Put yourself in this position, because we're going to land in the same area, right? Put yourself here where the tip of my toes are on the ground, my heel's below my butt, and I have my elbow kind of resting on the thigh, and we just go out. My foot can't be too close, right? I talked about this foot outside. Chest up. As I push across, look at how my elbow kind of flares to help me post. I aim for a hip, and I just land off to the side, right? And then we're going to be in the same spot. So it is a way of practicing that and give you guys a little bit of an easier time getting to the hip smash here, right? Now, I've been talking about this approach in the hip smash for this week, which is trying to keep your partner's legs sideways so her hip is facing one way, but I'm going to try to put her shoulders totally flat, which is going to be very bad for them, right? Now, how am I going to use the top of my head? I saw a lot of people doing this week when I was teaching. getting on the side of her head, right? And for some position, that is good, but it's not what I'm looking for right now, because no matter how much I push the side of her head like this, her shoulder's not gonna go on the floor by me doing that. So I can build a good pressure. I'm gonna try to get below the chin, and I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna slide myself up, and this is how I'm trying to get her flat, right under the chin. Again, it's not the nicest thing to do, but I want you guys to just get this concept down. We're flattening her out, and not only that, now curl up a little bit. I'm gonna be framing, doing all this, right? So if at any point, while she's still sideways and framing, I let this go, she's gonna arch back, maybe build up to an elbow, make space, right? When I use my head and my whole upper body here to slide and get her really flat, even if I let this go, of course I still gotta be driving and pressuring, she can't arch anymore because there's nowhere to arch. And if she tries to arch, she's gonna give me a very easy time going over and going to mount. And those are the two passes we're gonna work on. After we get here, we're still gonna work on sliding, 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 getting her flat. If she chooses to hook me with her feet, we just gotta use a hook against her hook so I can step off. Finish the pass. Or if I rather use my hand, just shoving her knee, not down to the floor, but down back, I can just start using my knee to go in her hip, and then I'm gonna have to slide a little higher, yeah. But like I said, practice it coming back from the knee, the shin grab and landing in that position, but also put yourself here a little bit, just so it's easy. Heavy, right? You always want to be careful if you're in this scenario here where she has, because it's a frame, but it's also a hook, right? So you should be careful leaning because she can elevate, so you'd want to be more back, go around. Then you can do it slow and then hug the hip, or you can go all at once off to the side. Then again, thumb down, pulling that hip up and tucking my elbow in, outside leg up so that there's a lot of weight on my shoulder and on my head to flatter out. We either use the wipe to pass to the back side, or we just pressure, use our hand to shove and start sliding up to mount. Okay, so play with it. Again, you can come back from the shin grab defense and do it, or just put yourself there and work on that little shove just to work on landing the hip smash. Okay? Let's go, guys. 1, 2, 3. She could, if she finds space, pummel her leg in with the knee first, or if I'm giving her a lot of room, maybe with the heel first, like that, getting underneath, right? So she has all those options for her to try to look for, and we're gonna be like this. She has my leg kinda, she's not like hooking on it, but she's reaching for it, and I'm on my knee blocking her leg, right? My main goal is to not get swept, right? So try to not let her advance the position and eventually pass. Remember guys, if you just step the foot on the floor, but the weight is on the outside leg, you're not even helping yourself. You're making her a favor, because now if Rana shifts her hip underneath me, she's already on the waiter, on my back. So be careful, you know, like just touching your foot on the ground might not be so good. You want to try to bend this leg as much as possible, because remember what I said about letting this happen as the bottom person, letting this kind of drop. That's exactly what I'm trying to do when I come up. When I bend, look at how I'm trying to get low or eventually even get free from her arm so that now I can land smashing, right? So first, 2 minutes top turns bottom, we're going to go like that. Bottom person's trying to scoop under and improve the position. But then I want you guys to do 2-minute rounds starting here. So I'm not going to be with my head on her chin yet. She's sideways, but I have my feet, my legs here over her, and I'm covering, right? So I have the hip, I have the collar. I'm in a way better position. And from here, the number one thing I want the person on top to think is, you're in such a good position, right? And you're going to have 2 minutes. You shouldn't rush and try to pass the guard 10 times. If you can work your way to pass 1 time in 2 minutes, that's perfect. As long as she doesn't recover, that's the main thing. How can I get really good at using this to pass if her legs start moving a lot, connecting into leg weave, a different kind of position? So just try to not lose the advantage that you have by starting over here. And the bottom person, okay, your main goal is not to attack anymore. Of course, that if your partner really gets off balance and you can sweep them from there, great. But the number one thing is stopping them from passing, right? You're already kind of behind, and eventually building up a guard. If the bottom person is able to build up a guard from the hip smash, then keep going. It's on you. You shouldn't lose the hip in that point. So work to keep it, and then eventually pass. So 2 minutes first, work in the shin grab, trying to get under. We'll switch partners, and then we'll work 2 minutes hip smash. We might do 2 of those. Okay? Let's go, guys. Partner up. 1, 2, 3.